Hey everyone, and welcome to Pals Chat. I am Gina Parker. I'm here with my guest co-host Ashley Jones. Welcome back, Ashley.
Hiya.
You mentioned a shitty hair appointment, and now I'm already interested. What
I mean,
happened?
it's definitely off the theme of the podcast, but it was definitely something out of a comedy sitcom. Yeah, I tried to save some money and go to Ulta to get my hair done. That's just a bad idea. So I hadn't been in a while, and I was just like, "Hey, I really just want you to fix my color, and I need a haircut." And I have like really thick hair, and the lady was like, "Yeah," and like very like blasé and very like, you know, she had lots of confidence going in. So she like put some stuff on my hair and she's like, okay, let's rinse. And then she's like, I don't like it. I'm gonna put some other stuff on your hair and then we're gonna rinse you again. And then I got out of the like shampoo bowl sink thing and she's like, uh-oh. And I was like, well, what? And she's like, so there's like a big knot in your hair. And I was like, what? And like basically the whole bottom of all of my hair had knotted in like one big dreadlock.
Huh,
And she spent the next hour and a half combing it out. And then she was like, I don't trust myself to finish your hair, so goodbye. And
cool.
didn't charge me. So
Well, I should hope not.
I
If
just
if
was like,
she
yeah.
had billed you at that point, I would have been worried, but that's not great. So you have to get a redo at another time and
I
place.
yeah, definitely place. Definitely definitely another place. I was like, okay, I can't go cheap again. Must go with somebody who knows what they're doing. That was rough. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, happy early Mother's Day and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers listening out there.
Yay, happy moms.
Any big plans?
I mean, today was kind of the big plan, but tomorrow there's more plans, but they're mystery plans planned by my better half. So I don't actually know what's happening tomorrow, but things are happening.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm happy about that. But yeah. Yay, moms. Happy Mother's Day. Yay.
Yay, moms. So, what content are we consuming this week?
Well, I'm in a like content slump right now because I finished Only Murders in the Building. So it was great. It was wonderful, but I was like, give me more. So I actually went back to podcasts and I listened through to all your other co-hosts of Pouch Chat and got caught up with all my children years. I think I have it straight. I'm not sure. And when I ran out of those episodes, I started listening to Pressure Cooker again, a whole podcast on the difficulties of feeding children. And they go like deep diving, investigative reporting on different aspects of like nutrition and children. I just listened to a two-part series on insidious food marketing to children and how it's completely different from when, you know, our generation and then our like parents' generation was growing up because, we didn't have social media before, and parents literally have no idea how much content and marketing is coming at their kids. It was like a really scary stat of like teenagers are online 8.5 hours a day and they see 13,000 ads in that time, whether they're direct ads or they're influencer ads or they're like banner ads, they're getting it constantly. It's very subtle, and their brains have not developed enough to sort out what's real and what's not. And that's the part that's like really scary because they're preying on lack of brain development. Not to bum everybody on the listeners out. Everyone's like, I'm so bored and bummed out about the state of the world right now.
Happy Mother's Day.
But it was still really interesting. I mean, the end of it was really nice because they actually gave some like really good advice on like how to how to have like really open, honest conversations with your kids about that stuff and like not hide it, not judge it, and just be like, this is part of life. Like screens and social media are part of life now, and we have to like figure out mature ways of dealing with it. So I thought that was like the bright light at the end, but that
Well,
was
there
cool.
you go. Bright light at the end. Glad to
Yeah.
hear it. For me, oh, I'll promote an app this week, Letterboxd, which is a social media app for movies. And I just like it just for myself, not even for a social media aspect, just because I want to be watching more movies. I feel like I never have time. And so that's how I'm keeping track of myself of when I'm watching movies. So there you go,
Cool.
Letterboxd.
Letterboxed. Is it like what's coming out in theaters, or is it like all movies, or just like
It's all movies.
cool?
And it is like a social media thing. You can follow your friends. I don't have any friends on there. It's just for me to entertaining myself.
Is it kind of
Just
like the book ones where you like indicate all the movies you've watched and whether you like them or not?
mhm.
Oh, that's awesome.
So for this week, I decided to do a new segment called Love in the Afternoon, which is I'll just tell you about one couple from All My Children. So it'll hopefully be less things for you to track.
I need the
Uh,
visuals. Like the visuals will help.
uh, yeah, I'll have to send you a YouTube link. So for this week, I'm going to start with Bianca and Maggie, who were a super couple on All My Children.
You are smart and beautiful and funny and strong. You were my rock. You remember that? There was a time I didn't know how to put one foot in front of the other, and you showed me how. I cherish every single part of you. You are extremely beautifully lovable. You love me as a friend. You love me just as a friend. No. It's so much more than that.
It was Bianca Montgomery and Mary Margaret Maggie Stone, and they were played by Edith and Elizabeth Hendrickson, respectively. And they became an All My Children super couple. And I think it can lead us into some other conversations. So Bianca is this very rich, heiress type girl. And then she meets this like homeless con artist named Mary Frances Frankie Stone, who's this little con artist worming her way into Bianca's life, but then they actually get feelings for each other. And then Frankie is murdered. Dun dun dun. And the behind the scenes reason, which I think is interesting, is they were trying to do a drug story on the show, but and so they felt like they had to drop bodies, start killing off people, but they didn't want to kill off any valuable characters. So they brought this girl on the show just to kill her off. But there was a fan campaign to bring the actress back, but they're like,
Mm,
we've shown her dead
dead.
body on the floor for like 3 weeks. We can't like undo that. So they brought back her never mentioned, identical twin sister Maggie, who is not long lost to Frankie, we're given to believe, but no one else really knew about her.
Mm.
So she comes on the show to find her sister's killer. She meets Bianca. They start investigating the murder together because Bianca was in love with her sister. They end up finding the killer is the drug lord Proteus, which is, well, spoilers, but it's Maggie and Frankie's Aunt Vanessa. Vanessa tries to kill Maggie. Maggie ends up getting saved by her cousins. And Bianca's like, you have to go to court. You have to testify against her. We got to get justice. And Maggie's like, she just tried to murder me. I'm not for that. They have a falling out. Bianca also takes an interest in Maggie kind of romantically, but Maggie's like, it's just because I look like my sister type thing. They spend the next year or so kind of flirting. They go to prom together. Bianca pushes Maggie to date one of her friends named Tim Dillon, and that doesn't really work out. There's something not working there. So finally, after about a year of this, Bianca says, like, hey, are we going to date? Yes or no? Maggie's like, I need more time to say something. Bianca's like, no, I need a decision now. Maggie's like, well, then fine, no. So they both start dating other people.
Very high school. Will you date me? Yes or no? Is it like on a
And
piece of notebook paper?
and it was kind of, they were in high school when it started. So fair enough.
What year was that? That
That I just showed you was 2002. The storyline
oh,
started in 2001.
okay. I was like, oh, because you started talking about like a gay couple. I was like, oh, if this is like the 60s or 70s, it's pretty like new, like awesome. Good on them. Like, oh no, it's the 2000s. Okay, never mind.
And it was the first one.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And we
That's
can
pretty terrible.
and we'll get more into that stuff later on. So then so they start dating other people and they're going to college together. Maggie starts dating this guy, Henry, and I feel like Henry was an attempt to get more Asian Americans on the show, which I love representation,
Mhm.
but it's a thing of like it wasn't the best representation. It was kind of like a tiger parent storyline, and they owned a Chinese restaurant, and I didn't feel like it was great. I mean, I love that they tried, that they are trying to
Very,
make it more diverse, but it
very
wasn't
stereotypical.
it
Like
yeah, it wasn't great.
he got in on a math scholarship
Mm,
and he's
yeah.
gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer.
Yeah. So Maggie's in med school and he's training to be a doctor. Yeah. So
Oh,
she's dating Henry and he's just a dud. Like, I'm not even going to get into their relationship. They dated for a while. She lost her virginity to him, but they broke up. He's a dud. And then Bianca was dating someone named Lena Kundura. And so Lena was this posh European woman from Poland who Bianca was dating, but Lena was cheating on her. She was also dating this guy, Michael Cambius, and she was helping him to destroy Kendall's mother and sister and like steal all their money. It's like a financial scheme.
mm.
And so Bianca finds this out. She's very betrayed. Through this whole time, Bianca and Maggie have decided to just be like best friends. Lena ends up winning Bianca back. She's like, I'm going to turn on Michael and I'm going to be with you. And Michael doesn't take kindly to that. And he comes back and he rapes Bianca.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm. So Bianca's very traumatized. She can't tell anyone what's happened to her. She tries to hang out with Maggie a lot because she's scared of being alone. She's acting so erratically. And finally, she tells Maggie that she was raped, and Maggie's very protective of her during this time. She goes with her to get her rape exam. She goes with her to like her abortion appointment. When Michael tries to stalk and terrorize Bianca, she pulls a knife on him to protect her. He turns the knife on to Maggie. He nearly kills her. But she's with Bianca through this whole thing. Bianca ends up pregnant. She considers an abortion, but her sister's also a product of rape, and she decides to keep the baby. And so Bianca and Maggie plan to leave the country together and raise the baby.
Huh.
As best friends, like a platonic best friends do.
As
And
best friends do, because that's like a completely normal thing for platonic friends to do.
it was a thing of, in the press, whenever the network executives would talk, or like, the network make statements, there would be like, they want Maggie straight. That's what the audience wanted. And the audience is like, no. But whatever. When Bianca realizes she's pregnant, she confronts Michael, saying she's like, I got proof you raped me now. Michael threatens to rape her again and take their child. Bianca has brought a gun along because he raped her before and she's scared of him, and it goes off and she kills him, but she blocks it out. And
The classic amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma-based amnesia.
But Maggie was also planning to kill him that night with a gun she got from college. College. So
just full of guns. Didn't everyone's college have guns everywhere?
Yeah, I was gonna say that about the long lost twin thing too. Like, we've all been there. All of them. They get through that whole thing together. But once there's no more secrets, Michael's out of the picture. Bianca realizes she's killed him. She takes responsibility. Everyone knows she's pregnant now. Lena proposes to Bianca, and Bianca accepts, and it looks like, she's gonna move on with her life with Lena. Maggie kisses her and then like runs off into a fling with her friend Jamie because she's confused. Bianca's baby is kidnapped, and Bianca is told the baby's dead. And so she's mourning the loss of her only child. Maggie's with her through that. Lena has to leave the country. Maggie continues to be there for Bianca. She confesses to Bianca that she's in love with her, and Bianca's like, I'm engaged. So
I've
uh
moved on.
yeah, sorry about that. Bianca helps Maggie's cousin. Basically, she helps Maggie's cousin with a scheme. And the scheme is to make it look like the scheme is Bianca and the cousin make it look like they've slept together so that the girl's name is Babe. Babe's like abusive husband is revealed to be abusive in front of witnesses and on camera, is the whole thing. And Maggie ends up walking in on that whole scene and sees Bianca in bed with her cousin. And so it's like, oh, it's not just because you're engaged, you just didn't want me, even though I'm in love with you.
Right.
And so
Tried to help her cousin, loses
yeah.
the love of her life.
Mm-hmm. So she runs off and she gets with this guy, Jonathan, who's abusive to her. And in the meantime, Bianca reunites with her baby. Baby's alive. Maggie's great with the baby. Things are good. But then Bianca realizes this guy is abusing her. Bianca's been trying to convince Maggie, you need to get away from this guy. And then she ends up making a pass at her and kissing her and realizing that she's in love with her. She's like, I need to get you away from this guy. He's hitting you and terrorizing you. But then she like makes a move and says, I'm in love with you. And Maggie no longer trusts her. She's like, I've been in love with you for years. You were into my twin sister. You dated her. And now all of a sudden, when you want me to break up with this guy, you're suddenly in love with me. So she's lost all the trust there. And kind of pushed Maggie farther into this guy's arms. Bianca ends up running to this guy's brother and stopping the wedding of Maggie and this abusive guy. And then Maggie, with like an intervention with the help of her friends, gets into a support group. She gets help and she reunites with Bianca. Maggie's abusive boyfriend is named Jonathan. He pulls a gun on Bianca and her baby as retaliation for breaking up him and Maggie. When Maggie learns about this, it like drives her further into Bianca's arms. And so Bianca's like, listen, this town's terrible. I've been raped. I've had my kid
Let's
kidnapped.
let's
Like,
leave town. Let's
let's
just get
leave
out of
town.
here.
Let's leave town. Let's get out of here. So she's like, I have to go to Paris for work anyway. I'm just going to move there with the kid. Come with us. And Maggie's like, my life's kind of in the toilet. I'm flunking out of medical school now because I got so caught up with this guy, and my life's kind of turned upside down. I don't know if I can go. And so Bianca decides to do it anyway for her kid, which
Mm,
I'm sure you could relate to. Love of the
yeah,
child.
sure.
You got to do what's safe.
You gotta do what's safe for the child. I mean, if I was anywhere where my kid got kidnapped, I would be on a first plane out,
Yeah.
100%. But like the fact that it took her so long to leave is a little much.
Well, within the timeline of a show, it was like 2 months that it took her
Oh,
from reuniting with the child to leave.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And I
Take some
mean,
time to like, you know, move your life.
yeah. And I also skipped over a part where when Bianca finds out her child is alive, the the man who's been raising her child didn't believe the truth. And when Bianca went towards the baby, he like pushed her over off a balcony and sent her into a coma. And then Maggie was visiting her in the hospital. And so she's had a lot. She's had a lot going, a lot on her plate, full plate.
That's a lot from, you know, investigating her twin sister's murder to being raped to having a child to look after who's then been kidnapped and then this whole time being sort of in love with somebody who couldn't stay with them and
Uh,
abused by multiple people. Yeah, that sounds harsh.
well, I mean, that's the both of them. You kind of mixed up some details, but yeah, the
Oh,
together they've accumulated a lot of trauma.
yes.
So
Yeah.
Bianca's like, I'm leaving town, and so she's just gonna leave anyway with the kid. And then the plane is delayed by fog, and then Maggie gets on the plane at the last minute, and they move to Paris together. She comes back to town. She comes to an island for her mother's wedding and reveals like she and Maggie are doing great. They're a couple. They're going strong for another year and a half or so. Once they were in Paris and were away from all the drama, they fell in love, became a couple. And then Bianca comes back in to town around 2006 to help out with, I think it was to see her brother. There's also a serial killer.
Mm.
And then she had to stay and support her family with the serial killer. And then she reveals Maggie cheated on her with her lab partner at French medical school. And she's like, I was wanting to get married, but Maggie cheated. Bummer. But Bianca's like, oh, and I want her back. And then Maggie comes back to town and is like, hey, I want you back. But Bianca rejects her this time
Mm.
and says no, because and again, this is a situation where they were trying something. So they had their first transgender character in daytime history, the end of 2006 to 2007. And they
Hmm.
wanted that person paired with Bianca. So they had to break up Bianca and Maggie.
Maggie, right.
And so the actresses were kind of told they were coming back to the show to do their wedding. And really, it
Hmm.
was just to break them up,
Mm.
which is a bummer. They leave it sort of open ended. They actually
Hmm.
never do get back together.
Let's
It's
just
just,
take a break.
yeah,
We were on a break. Very friends.
yeah. And it is, so it was the first like same sex super couple in daytime history. They only shared 3 on screen kisses in the 7 years they were a super couple. And
Wow.
the actresses said they had to keep their mouths closed for all, like the kisses, or they'd make them reshoot them, which
Oh,
is
wow.
So like they tried to do these intense make-out scenes, and then they'd have to keep reshooting and keep reshooting, and eventually they just lose the battle and just have to do these closed mouth little kisses to each other. And I mean, like TV critics said there
Right.
was, but one of the bigger mistakes All My Children made is how they treated this hugely popular couple, because it was,
They just wanted the girl drama without any of like the actual representation. Like it was just such a, it seems like it was just for the drama of having the actresses cry, to
mhm.
have female characters, feminine female characters crying and getting into all these, you know, problems and getting into all of these distresses. But they didn't really want to talk about like they didn't actually want to demonstrate or show representation of a lesbian couple at all, or even any kind of queer couple, because it seems like they weren't, you know, they were fluid.
Yeah, and the I mean, it took them a few more, it took other been a few years later to even do like male couples or anything like that. And it was a thing of like the network constantly saying like, "Oh, the people want Maggie straight," when they had fans in the Bible Belt, like old school All My Children fans who like watched Bianca grow up and were like, "We want her to be happy." And I mentioned the storyline where Bianca's daughter got kidnapped, and what they said was they expected the people who lived on the coasts, like the West Coast and East Coast, they would want Bianca to get her baby back, but they didn't expect anyone in Middle America or the South or anything to want Bianca to have her baby back because she was a lesbian. And it was the whole
What?
audience who was like, no,
What?
we want her to have her baby back. Like, it doesn't matter. That's her baby.
What?
And it
Yeah,
was,
like, oh, I don't care how religious you are. Nobody wants you to suffer the loss of your child being kidnapped just because you might like the same gender. Like that's really extreme. Sort
and
of poor market research there.
it's the thing of the soap operas too that we kind of talk about. Like, it's 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year for decades. And so they've known this character for 20 years, and they've watched her grow up on their screens. Obviously, it's recast actresses every few years, whatever, but they know that person. Like, and they watch her mourn her child. And
Right.
it was like that whole relationship over the 7 years, that whole thing is like a miscalculation of, it was a huge devoted fan base who wanted to see that happen and never really got to see that happen because when they were gonna do the big wedding, they dropped it. And the trans storyline was important. They bungled it. And that's a whole separate podcast episode about how they bungled it. But
It sounds like they bungled a lot of representation, diversity storylines because like they've got the Asian character and they've got like the trans character, like it's like they're doing the token every color of the rainbow kind of thing just to show it, and then those characters have very little dimension or other purpose other than just to be that type of character on the screen. And then they had this opportunity to show a real queer couple who had dimension, who had trauma and drama and heartache, and but also could have had some positive stuff. But it seems like all the positive stuff took place off screen.
mhm,
Like they're like, oh yeah, we had 3 great years together in Paris.
mhm,
Now I'm gonna come back and there was, infidelity.
off screen, like
Mhm.
everything else. Yeah, and I mean, something I've talked about, and I think I talked about in one of the other episodes, like there's hits and misses. Like they did a Sid storyline, which is like sudden infant death syndrome
Oh,
for one of the characters, which is a real thing that happens. And
it is.
they did it in the 70s, which is pretty progressive. They took on the Vietnam War as it was happening. They took on Roe v. Wade weeks after it happened. They did a lot of great things and great representation. They had also like the first African American super couple in history who were very beloved and who were allowed to kiss, but remained on the show from like 1981 to when the series ended in 2013.
Hmm.
So, you know, I think the reason I picked out this one for the first one to talk about is because it was such a waste of potential.
Yeah, I think they missed the boat on that one. So it was like, a very interesting storyline overall. That's like, missed connections, and then, different people that they dated, and then trauma and kidnapping and all this stuff that drove them closer together. And then they had these sort of like lukewarm kisses
Mhm.
and nothing else. And then their happiness is celebrated off screen. It's like, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they really did have an opportunity there, like, especially given that the characters were so beloved, they could have been like, look, you like these people, you can like people that are queer. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, what, you know, bungled, bungled opportunity.
But it was a couple I rooted for. There are a few throughout all my children that I did actually like most of them, but a lot of them I rooted for. There are some I didn't. I did like them. I was always pulling for them to get back together, but it was not to be. And when they did do a lot of the stuff, like years later, they did have the first lesbian wedding, the first like lesbian sex scene. They bungled that too with just the writing regime that makes me so angry of 2008 to 2009. And that wasn't the only problem, but it was like all lesbians just want a good man. But then they also had like men beating up the cops and getting away with it. Like just tons of those 2 years were like some of the worst writing in the history of the show. It was a really dark era. Uh,
Horrendous toxic masculinity.
mhm.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah, there was some good times in there, and they did have some good moments along the way that we did get to see, but the actresses were willing to do more and the fans wanted more. And I think they could have written to more had they been allowed.
Mm,
Uh, Network interference and all that. That's our love in the afternoon for this week.
I like it. New format.
Hmm.
Love in the afternoon.
There's been like a 40-minute documentaries or things of like how they ran the show, and it is kind of fascinating about how it all worked and how they put everything together. But
I mean, like, and it's funny, but at the same time, like, it's campy because they had to do 5 shows a week, 52 weeks a year. And like, to keep it interesting, it has to get bonkers. Like, it has to be unbelievable and weird and traumatic and dramatic. Otherwise, people would stop watching.
and one thing from the documentary I'll share with you is that basically the building that they filmed all my children in, there were people working there 24 hours a day. So you'd have actors come in the morning. The first part of the day was rehearsal. Then the second part of the day is filming. And then when everyone left for the night, all the props masters and the people who did the sets, they'd have to take everything down, build up the new sets, get everything ready for the next day's show. They'd leave in the morning and then it all
Oh my
starts again.
gosh.
Like, and
And
then
the
the actors,
editors would come in the
yeah,
evening and edit. Oh my God, that's crazy.
but it was a machine and it employed a lot of people. It is a dying genre, but it's still, I'm very interested in it as a TV person.
I mean, what soaps are still new today?
Oh, I do know that one. Well, in the US, it's General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful, and The Young and the Restless. Those are the
No.
four that are still going. And then in England they got like 2 or some, and then Australia they got Neighbors, which was saved by Amazon. And I
Mhm.
think the guy who owns Amazon is from Australia, so maybe he's just like, I'm gonna save my little stories. Who knows what the story is there, but
That's crazy. But it's cool. And like, because I feel like I know those soaps. Like they've been going for a while before in the US.
mm-hmm. And CBS just ordered another one into production called The Gates, which is centered around Black families, and it's working with the NAACP to make responsible stories for people of color. So,
Responsible.
mhm.
Okay. Remains to be seen.
Yeah, they attempted that a couple decades ago with the show called Generations, which I think Vivica A. Fox was on, about an affluent Black family. But I think people at the time found it hard to connect to. Like it was a Black
Mhm.
family written by white people type thing.
Mhm. So a little
So,
off.
hmm so we'll see how this one does. It'd be interesting if, you know, how cyclical the world can be if things come back around. Well, bye.
Well, bye.
Thank you for listening. Our theme song is Wouldn't It Be Nice by Sound Mirage featuring Lady Rand. Please rate and review, download, subscribe, all the things. And you can email us at amcrewatch@gmail.com. Thanks. Talk to you next week.